Hello there, I'm Dr. Curtis Finch, Superintendent of Deer Valley Unified School District. Welcome to an all-new episode of the Supe Scoop, as we take you behind the scenes of DVUSD. No matter where you go or who you talk to, there's often a feeling of concern about our children. Are they playing too many video games? Are they on their phones and online too often? What kind of adults are they going to turn into? Parent and adult concerns about the younger generations have always been out in the open. The bad stories often get the spotlight, but today we're shining the spotlight on some inspirational students who are taking the lead right now at DVUSD. And their projects, their passion for public service, isn't just positively affecting the local community. Their works are being felt worldwide. You'll meet 3 DVUSD high school seniors who will share their efforts to make the community and the world a better place. That's all coming up after this 30-second pause on the Supe Scoop.
Research shows that when parents and other caring adults are involved, students achieve more. That's why DVUSD is committed to reaching out and involving parents and the community through volunteering. Volunteering focuses on welcoming all families into the school community, communicating effectively, supporting student success, speaking up for every child, sharing power, and collaborating with the community. For more information on volunteering at DVUSD, including links to school parent organizations, visit dvusd.org/volunteer.
Welcome back to the Supe Scoop. I'm Dr. Curtis Finch, DVUSD Superintendent. Throughout the course of the school year, I make it a goal to visit more than 500 classrooms in our district. During my visits, I get to see how teachers and staff, and even how an entire school or department is working together. But I also get to see what our students are doing and how they're learning and helping one another. When a student gets to high school, that notion of helping one another often branches out beyond helping one other student or a classroom. And I'm seeing this more today than ever before, as this generation of children often puts public service and public care ahead of many other things in their lives. Today we're going to hear the stories of 3 DVUSD high school students who are making a major impact in their community and even the world. But let's start locally, and in fact, hyper-locally. Before anyone can solve the world's problems, you have to feel comfortable in your own personal situation. And that often means being in a good mental spot with your own mental health. Today's children have many challenges to achieving the balances for positive mental health, but they also have many more resources than my generation had. One resource that DVUSD high school students have is being grown by Berry Goldwater High School senior Brendan Salisbury. I recently sat down with him to learn about the Goldwater PAC program.
My name is Brendan Salisbury. I'm a senior at Berry Goldwater High School in the International Baccalaureate program there. And my project is going to be establishing wellness centers within our DVUSD high schools.
Do you have that project already rolling?
Absolutely, I do. We've been working with principals and our amazing superintendent so far on this project. We've already secured thousands in funding from some of our local community sponsors, and we're going to be continuing to make that happen so that we can make the most amount of community engagement possible.
Do you have a site already rolling at your Bulldog High School?
Yes, we do. So you can reference us on Instagram at DVUSD_wellness centers.
Right. At both Berry Goldwater High School, you have 2 rooms. One's for staff, one's for students. Tell me about them. What's in them, and what's the purpose behind all of this?
Absolutely. So I do have to absolutely give credit for the brainchild to our PBIS PAC team. PAC standing for Pride, Accountability, Kindness, and Courage. Sorry, reverse that order a little bit. And they went to a conference and were able to see what the wellness center model looked like. They came back to us and they wanted to implement it. And one of the student organizations that I founded, called Bring Change to Mind on Campus, it's our first DVUSD mental health club. We paired with them to be able to make our student and our staff wellness center. The student wellness center is ocean themed. It has yoga equipment, art materials, books for mental health resources. We're also Title I, so it gives our students access to snack packs and those who are going through food poverty. And most of all, it just gives them a safe space to be able to decompress, take a little bit of a break from the school day, and come back reinvigorated to learn. For the staff, we want to know that our educators are taken care of, because if they're not taken care of, they can't take care of our students. And so we supply them with everybody's favorite thing, coffee. We make sure that they have ample food. We put in puzzles there, really nice sofas. We have massagers for them, as well as different little activities. And also, my favorite part is their bingo board. So something to sort of foster a community around is we give them little challenges that encourage kindness both between the faculty and the students. And it seems to be working really well to help cultivate a community of kindness.
So how does that work as a student? I'm not having a good day. Do I just go knock on this door, or do I go to the office, or how does it work in your school?
Yeah, absolutely. So oftentimes a student will know when they're not feeling good, and so they'll just say, hey, can I go to the wellness center to their teacher? Depending on what campus you're on, you'll probably make an e-hall pass, and then they'll send you over there, and you go in. The one thing that we do is you'll scan a QR code, and then you'll just put on a scale from 1 to 10 how you're feeling. This is so that the staff know, hey, does this person need immediate attention, or do they just need a place to relax and chill out? And if it's the latter, well, then they can just go in there, do whatever they need. It's usually for about 15 minutes, which is actually scientifically proven to be the most effective and shortest amount of time to be able to take a student from like a 10 to a 5, and then get them back into a learning environment where they're not missing too much class, but they're still in a much better headspace. It's also anonymous, so you're not gonna have teachers being like, "Oh my gosh, you went to the wellness center." No one's gonna need to know that. This is for students by the students, and now that we're expanding this project, it's also going to be for the teachers by the teachers. So we're really reaching deep into those communities, seeing what people want to best serve them.
You said that you're going to expand it. Are you looking at trying to get this into the other high schools?
Absolutely. So our first mission that we're going for is at Sandra Day O'Connor. We have already established a Bring Change to Mind Club there, which is our student level support organization. And then we're going to be working on wellness centers. Up next is going to be all the rest of them. We're going to be able to hit Deer Valley High School, Mountain Ridge, and Boulder Creek. And so we're going to try to get resources for everyone, because it doesn't matter where you come from, what demographic you are. We all deserve access to affordable, equitable resources for our own mental health and for the mental health of our educators.
And the whole purpose of this group is to make a difference with kids. And have you seen any impact so far?
Absolutely. So, little statistic for you. We've had over 1,000 users of our mental health wellness centers on Barry's campus within just a year. To break that down a little bit, we had 900 last year, and we've had over 100 in our first 2 weeks at BGHS. So they're really being used. I know when we were featured on ABC 15, it was featured that Heather Smith said that she's had more than a dozen lives saved simply because of the wellness center. I know that my friends will tell me, hey, I really just appreciated the opportunity to be able to go to the wellness center, receive the help that I needed. It was private, it was secure, and then I could just go back to class. This is especially useful for honor students who a lot of times we don't necessarily want to admit when something's wrong, but we still need that help. And so we can go of our own volition, take care of it, and then come back and kill it for the rest of the day.
Sounds like there's teachers and helpers in that room as well for the students. Obviously, they're just not hanging out.
Absolutely. So once again, if a student needs that extra support, we will have either RTIB or another qualified faculty member to be able to supervise what's happening in this room and then give specialized support if needed.
Sounds like a great project. Keep up the great work.
Thank you so much. Pleasure being here.
Brendan's story was also recently featured on ABC 15, as his efforts have helped him become the 2023 Bezos Scholar. Our next student was also featured on the news. Boulder Creek senior Aiden Thatcher was on Arizona's Family News sharing his story about Project Kunganisha, a public service project that started humbly during COVID and accidentally became international.
Hello, I'm Aiden Thatcher, and I'm a senior at Boulder Creek High School. So,
tell us a little bit about your project. I know you were in the news. You're turning into be a celebrity.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know if I like that part of it, but one thing that I have had the opportunity to start during my time at Boulder Creek is Project Kunganisha. So it's spelled kind of funny. It doesn't really sound how it's spelled, but just so you know, I think it's KWNGISHA, and it means connect in Swahili. And so what our project is all about is it's about connecting people. So it's about taking people, and teens mostly in the United States or other kind of countries around the world that speak English and connecting them with a friend in Kenya. And so really the goal of it is to try to use like novel kind of mediums like Zoom, right, to connect people from across the world so they can share language, so they can share culture, and also just so they can share good times and really kind of form that feeling of like global solidarity, global connection, right? While also providing an opportunity for the teens in Kenya to practice their English, which is a skill that will definitely help them in their success.
Where did this project birth? Where did it come from?
It's definitely a long story. So the project is a part of a larger organization called Meaningful Teens, and they were born out of the pandemic, actually. That was kind of when Zoom was like a brand new thing, and people were like, wow, what can we use this for, right? And so they kind of turned crisis into opportunity by using Zoom as like a way to like tutor kids, especially, during COVID, where like, especially like low income kids and stuff like that, they weren't really getting as much homework help from their parents. And so we wanted to try to find a way where it's like, they wouldn't fall behind, right? And so that was kind of the initial platform, and I started volunteering with them a few years ago. But eventually it kind of things progressed, and we started doing other projects. Like we did a project in Ukraine, we did a project in India, we did other projects in the US, for just different types of students, even ESL adults, just using Zoom and connecting them with other people who can kind of use that medium to help them with their homework or help them, learn how to speak English and stuff like that. And so that's really what like put it on my radar that like Zoom could be a tool used to connect people, and that's kind of the organization that like gave me the resources I needed. But essentially about a year ago, I got an email from, my kind of colleagues over there, and they're like, hey, we have a school who's interested in Africa and they want to try to do something with us. They saw us like on the news or something. And I was like, great. And so then I started emailing them, and they were like, wait a second, we don't have internet access. I actually don't think this would work. And I was like, yeah, that sounds kind of like a problem. We'd love to have.
Kind of need internet access.
You kind of need that. And so then it changed, but they're like, wait, we know another school. And so then it's like, then we talked to them, and they were like, I don't think it's going to work, timing and stuff like that. Then they gave us another school. And so it ping-ponged around. It took like 6-7 months to even like get a school and like hash things out. But then eventually, after a bunch of planning and coordination, the project got started last April. So it's been running since then. So I guess it's been running like about 5 months.
Wow.
So it's been great.
So how many students do you think you're impacting in the U.S. or English speakers, and then as well the school that you're connected to?
Yeah, well, one thing I do want to point out is that by surprise, we weren't expecting this, but we actually became international.
Ooh.
So there's a lot of like international schools kind of around the globe where there's like students who speak English, but they might not necessarily be like, British or American. So we have people from like Korea, Thailand, Indonesia, India, Pakistan. I think there's somebody in France. There's somebody in Canada. So it's just such like a eclectic variety. It's so fun to kind of see all the perspectives around the world. But on top of that, if you're looking at like how many people we've impacted in terms of English speakers, we've had like over like 200 sign up. But in terms of people who've actually come, it's probably closer to 40.
Yeah, sure.
But that's okay.
It's just getting started.
Yeah, definitely. So we've had about 40 English speakers, and there's about 10 students in Kenya who have had an impact. And I've actually talked to a lot of people about it just to kind of see, like, what do they like about it? And a lot of people have found it really powerful. I mean, it's not every day that you get to make a friend that's 2,000 miles away. So it's been really expanding for a lot of people.
Sure.
Like, broadening their horizons.
Sure. Kenya's probably 20,000 miles away.
Probably. Yeah, I underestimated that a lot.
Yeah, but the internet doesn't care.
Nope.
It jumps right over that. It's very interesting. And how about impact with your peers? Have you noticed any buzz at school?
A few. There's definitely been people that I've harassed into signing up. So I kind of took advantage of my little circle to try to get that to happen. And so there are some students from Boulder, and I think there was also a student from Barry Goldwater that also participated in the project. But especially now that like I was on the news and it's been a little bit more public, there are more people kind of asking to join. So that's been great. So I've been definitely giving them the info on that. And I guess that kind of segues into how does somebody join this?
Yeah.
And for that, all you have to do is just go to meaningfulteens.org, and then there's a big button at the top, and it says volunteering. So you click on that, and then you'll see like a list of all the programs we have, and you just click volunteer, and then you fill out a little form, and then I'll send you an email once that form's filled out, showing kind of instructions on how to get involved and join.
Wow, that's neat. Kids in Deer Valley making an impact around the globe,
For sure.
Really with the premise that English is important. It's a world language, and a lot of people are interested in it, and that's the vehicle where you can make connections.
Definitely. Well, and on top of that, not only is English important, but I guess one thing I do want to mention too is that the project's supposed to be two-way. So one little quirk is that we have been learning a little bit of Swahili too. So
nice.
I can't say very much.
Can you throw
yet.
some down here or no?
I can say, this is the most basic expression ever, but Hakuna Matata is Swahili, and it doesn't mean no worries the rest of your days, as a lot of people think. But it's kind of like it's a colloquial saying, and it's about like living carefree, So it's like about relaxation and acceptance of kind of your reality.
So Disney just took it and ran.
Yeah, they kind of
Did their own
appropriated
spin.
it, but it's okay.
Cool. Well, thanks again for telling us about your project and how to get connected, and keep up the great work.
Thank you so much, Dr. Finch.
Aiden's public service accidentally went international, but our final student's public service was started to help people internationally, and he has received global recognition for his efforts. Mountain Ridge senior Yamin Secondari will tell us about the Isona Relief Fund, a business he created that recently earned him honors at the International Career Development Conference as a 6th place finalist in the world.
My name is Yamin Secondari. I am a senior at Mountain Ridge High School, and a little bit about myself. I am a composer for classical and jazz. I play jazz and classical piano. I am involved in my business programs in my high school. I also work every weekend at my parents' local businesses in Sedona, and I'm excited to be a part of this podcast.
Wow, you're a busy man.
Thank you. Yeah.
Well, tell us a little bit about your project. Obviously, it sounds like you won a state title and then you plowed on into the national picture. Tell us a little bit about your award journey and then about the project.
Of course. So, I competed in a written event for DECA. DECA is a student-led business organization. And basically what this event is I had to create a 20-page research paper on a corporation. Now, this event is called the Business Growth Plan. It's nuanced in the sense that you have to own a business in order to compete in this event. So not many people can compete in this event. So as immediately when I heard about it, I was like, I might do this research paper and presentation on my nonprofit organization. So my nonprofit is called Isona Relief Fund. What we do is we provide humanitarian and educational assistance to the marginalized in Kabul, Afghanistan. So to widows, disabled, orphans, and the elderly. So obviously I'm in love with DECA, but the prospect of a written event is it's very time consuming. It's a 20-page paper, and you have to dedicate a lot of time to it. So I wanted to combine both of my passions of business and helping people in need by creating a business growth plan for my nonprofit. So my nonprofit, it was incorporated, and we're currently applying for 501c3 status. But yeah, basically I created a SWOT analysis. I assessed the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats of my organization. And I kind of from there on created a 5-year growth plan in marketing, in finances, and in improving our product or our impact. So from there, I presented at the state level. I was able to win first place at states. Then I competed at nationals with I kind of created a board, and I had an online presentation as well. And I was able to become a finalist. So that's the top 20 people. And then I competed in the finals round and was able to place 6th, which I'm very happy about.
That's amazing. So when you're presenting, are you talking about your project in particular? Are they bantering back and forth, asking you questions about it, or are you more doing a presentation?
It's more of a presentation,
Okay.
roughly 14 minutes, 10 to 14 minutes.
Okay.
And you want to leave ample room for them to ask questions. So if you miss something, or if they want to learn more about a certain aspect of your project, you give them the opportunity to ask that question and clarify. So generally recommended to leave a few minutes of time for that.
Well, what's been the impact then of all this extra work, extra thought into your project, and then how has it impacted people across the globe on the other side of the earth?
Of course. First and foremost, we were able to implement our marketing strategies. So that was within social media. We improved marketing, and we increased volunteering and volunteerism across the state. So it increased our volunteers, which is very helpful and important in the United States because it is our responsibility to raise the funds so we can execute our projects abroad in Afghanistan. So that was definitely most helpful. We also were able to be featured on the news, which was a part of our project where we wanted to kind of increase our branding and be more involved in our community. We also had a benefit concert, so that was really cool. We had a bunch of talented musicians from Mountain Ridge and across the district participate and share music to the community and weave it into the narrative of helping, say, an orphan get a scholarship. That's a need.
How would, if I'm Joe Public or Joe Student and I want to get involved, how can I help?
We have a website, esonafund.org. So
how do you spell that?
ESONA
Okay.
FUND, so esonafund.org, and there's a contact page within the website. There's also Instagram that we're active on. It's just Esona Relief Fund on Instagram. And yeah, we'd love to get more volunteers, or if you're just interested in even a $5 donation can make a huge impact, just the price of a coffee cup. So yeah, definitely.
Nice. Have you? What kind of impacts have you been able to do in Afghanistan? Any cool stories?
Oh yeah, 100%. So we were fortunate enough to raise enough money to feed over 15,000 people in need. Afghanistan was in the worst humanitarian crisis in the globe due to ongoing political situations, natural disasters, etc. Tanked economy and everything. So there were millions on the brink of famine. So what we were able to do is we were able to host dinners every night. We were able to pass over 365 food packages, and being able to feed that just large amount of people, it's just very motivating. So you can continue doing that work. We've raised over roughly 110K, and we've been able to do some really cool things so far. Provide scholarships. We just helped a widowed lady who takes care of 6 orphans, and we were able to pay her monthly rent, give her food, and stuff like that. So all the videos there on the website, and some cool stuff we were able to do.
Wow, that's amazing. That's another example of taking what you learn and turn it into action.
100%.
Great job. You can be very proud of it. Congratulations on winning the state title and placing so high nationally. And obviously, what it's really about is making a difference, and that's what you do well.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
You so much.
Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
From taking care of one's mental health to learning new languages to helping those less fortunate halfway around the world, DVUSD students are making a difference in the community and the world. And while Brendan, Aiden, and Yamin have projects that are growing exponentially, a positive difference can be made by starting with a simple plan or by improving a system that is already in place. These students care greatly about others, and they're a proud example of what any DVUSD student can do with the right guidance. If you have a suggestion for a show topic or guest, I'd like you to go to dvusd.org/Supe Scoop. That's where you can make a suggestion for a show topic or guest on a future episode. I'm Dr. Curtis Finch. Thanks for joining me as you now have the inside scoop on DVUSD with the Supe Scoop podcast.